Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Backed by popular demand, my guest today is Laura Armitage. You might remember her previous episode where she talked about how she lost 100 pounds in her 70s eating plants, and today she's back with a wonderful assistant named Bella, and they're going to show you a really amazing, very special recipe for the holidays. It's a fake cake, but it's actually savory, but it doesn't look like it. Please welcome them back to the show. Hey, Laura, how are you?
I am fantastic, and thank you so much, Chef AJ. When you asked me the last time I was on the show to try to do this cake, I thought it would be way too hard, but my granddaughter's going to help me, so I think we've got it covered.
Oh, thank you. I got to tell you, you look amazing. I mean, you continue to look amazing. And I'm so proud of you for not just losing the weight, but keeping it off and being a role model to people, especially people that maybe have given up hope because maybe they're a little bit older and think, well, they can't do it.
Well, and I went so many years without ever figuring out, even after I was whole food plant-based or tried to be. But we're going to start with Bella is going to... This is Chef A. This recipe has 3 parts to it to make the bake cake. So Bella is going to get let's see, we need the oranges, the pears, and the cranberries, but don't carry them all at once.
Laura, is this what you're going to make for your Thanksgiving dinner or for part of it?
It won't be this year because I live near these 7 grandkids all year long. You're going to put it in. So this time I'm going to be in the DC area with my daughter Lee and grandson Ian, and my husband is up there and some other relatives. So we're not doing it, and we haven't actually done it. Now that was the cranberries, the orange slices, and the roasted pears. And this is Chef AJ's recipe that I got years ago in Ultimate Weight Loss, taking a special class. And I think, Chef AJ, we paid a little bit to get these recipes, or I mean, just
it could be, but they're in my book now. Those recipes are in my book now.
And what I think is it's named cranberry instead of cranberry. And what I think is so smart about it is I would think of putting fruit in to sweeten it, but the roasting the pears.
Yeah,
I mean, pears, and then you roast them and all this flavor. Okay, Bella, you want to pulse it?
You know why that came to pass? Because I already had a cranberry relish with dates, and some people were like, "Oh, dates are too calorically dense," and blah blah blah. So I figured out how to do it with pears.
Well, I'll tell you why I like this this particular recipe so much. Because Chef AJ also cooks a lot of things like muffins and desserts, and even when they're all fruit, if you put the name muffin in something, I would eat the whole dozen. Even if it tasted like cardboard, I would just eat it anyway. I mean, not that her recipes would, but I've never tasted those. And I don't plan to. So when I took Victoria Moran's Main Street Vegan Academy, one of her speakers was saying, you know, if you're whole food, plant-based, or vegan, and you go to a big holiday event, like, please don't show up with just a little kale or some green beans, you know, make a big splash. And I thought, well, if I want to eat it, it's going to have to be savory. So this is it's a perfect dinner. It's a whole meal. And so this is the cranberry sauce, and we're going to put that in the fridge for a few minutes. Now we're going to move this Bella, and Bella is a major chef. She cooks and bakes all the time.
She's getting an early start.
And she cooks a lot of healthy things. Now, we're not sure if she has mashed potatoes before, but she thinks it sounds fun. And I'm here to assist. She had to help me peel them. I almost forgot to peel them, which I do just because the mashed potatoes are going to make the icing on our cake.
What are you using? Yukon Gold?
They're Yukon Gold. They're, again, your recipe. They're
Middy's mash, yep.
Mashed potato recipe. And they go so soft in the Instant Pot. They're really not that hard to mash or anything. But what we had to do to be able to do this, the fake cake is made, and I'll tell you about that when we get there. Whoops.
I'm curious why you peel them, because I find Yukon Golds to be so soft that they just kind of smush in.
Well, you know, I was just going to say that. I wasn't sure because every time when I make the potatoes, not for a fake cake, I've never peeled them, but I didn't know how it would look as the icing.
Oh, you may, okay, that makes
I
sense.
was afraid they might not be white enough. I like the taste better when you leave them on there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Stand up, get on your knees on there. And you're gonna, just like you're mad at them, smash, smash, smash. Harder. Harder.
I always make Charles do our mashing.
Oh, no, I think she's gonna like it. But she was able to peel several of them because I suddenly said, oh, we didn't peel the potatoes. And I kept going, just don't hurt your hand, just do it fast. So I did it. So this is gonna take the potatoes, which are just so soft. We're gonna put in almond milk, a half cup, nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast. My recipe says table tasty, but this is the Stardust. And
that's fine. Yeah, any salt.
Another salt substitute, and the garlic powder. Okay, Bella, now let me double check. Oh, perfect. Now you're gonna pour this in kind of slowly. That's the almond milk. Not real slowly, but you can kind of move around, yeah. Spread it out. And then the other three ingredients are all in here. Okay, go for it. Now, as I said, we did cheat a little bit and we have the cake ready, which I did yesterday because it had to be cold and it takes a while to make it and another while to cook it. But everything in this recipe is totally simple. It's just that I'm not used to things that take 3 recipes.
Yeah.
I'm used to totally simple.
Yeah, but in the holiday, you want to go all out, right?
Yeah, and we've done this for several holidays, and the kids were so little, she wouldn't remember because we had several years with no Thanksgiving dinner because of COVID. We had it, but not all together. And but when they were really little, they didn't. I have 7. She's the oldest of my 7 youngest grandchildren. She's 8, and all the rest of them are 7. And they just thought it was cake for dinner, and I don't think they cared how it tasted. They were just like, cake for dinner, okay.
That's fantastic.
Show you the cake. This is 2 layers.
So what is that?
This is, again, somebody from your Ultimate Weight Loss program. We call it patty cake recipe. They called it what somebody's sweet potato. It's like a veggie, you normally make it into veggie burgers.
Wow. So they could take really almost any veggie burger recipe they wanted for the cake.
Right. And the first time I did a veggie burger that I thought would taste more like meat, I guess, because many people in my family are not vegan or vegetarian, and it was bland. So this recipe is really good. This is sweet potato, corn, a little bit of oatmeal, rolled oatmeal, and onion, and just a few other, spices and stuff. Now, Bella, which one of these do you want? This one? Okay. So get up on your knees or somewhere. I'm going to put some on the top for you to start with, and just go as smooth as you can so it doesn't, little gentle, because, we don't want that to happen.
We have a question in the chat for Bella from Susanna. Bella, Susanna wants to know, of all the things your grandma makes, what's your favorite to eat?
One of those soups that went to your house the other day? Which one?
The vegetable soup.
The vegetable soup. That's pretty much my whole family's. That's what I made last time, that crazy easy one with frozen vegetables.
Wow. I remember that. That was great.
But people in my family, the kids have to like it because both moms ate it the whole time they were pregnant. Okay. Can you see the cake, Chef AJ?
Yeah, and it looks amazing. I mean, that looks like real frosting.
Well, and it's easier than frosting a cake because it's not as lopsided, it doesn't fall apart.
It's such a clever idea. Whoever thought of that?
Well, I don't know if I thought of it. I think in Victoria Moran's thing, somebody mentioned something like that, but didn't give recipes. So that's when I just went searching through UWL. Bella, stick with the top. The sides are kind of tricky. She did not get to practice this.
Really, any lentil loaf, any loaf that anyone has ever made could work.
But this one has a particular taste that I think is appealing to kids and people who like, it's sweeter in the savory world because and chickpeas, that's another big thing in it. So it's the sweet potato and chickpeas kind of gives it a lot of flavor. And how does that? Wait, let me look. Okay, I've got to get. See, we didn't need all those potatoes. Okay, you could probably half the mashed potato recipe when I was hurrying so fast.
But that's okay if you have extra.
Oh, yeah. All right, let me see this side. See, I'm trying to make the plate look real clean. Let me see the. When we had it for Thanksgiving, we spent quite a long time with everybody trying to make it perfect. And by the time the people came over to eat, everybody saw it and said, Did you order that from a bakery? Because they've seen cakes I made in another life and they didn't look like this. All right, Bella, now you're gonna want these. First these, I think. And leave a little space between. You can put a little cranberry. But you need to be up here and probably on your knees.
They need to invent some kind of like cooking stool for kids.
I know. We were just trying to get me short enough and her tall enough.
What is that beautiful plant in front of you?
I guess that's just autumn mums. I'm not a gardener. I wish I were.
How much flowers?
Well, start putting them around and leave a little space for the, yeah, you'll see. It'll go a little further so you can, yeah, see?
That's gorgeous.
So I had thought of some other ways. It's a little early probably for, well, maybe not for Thanksgiving. You know, you could put little plastic decorations like go on birthday cakes, but I just thought with flowers, it was really nice.
It's,
And at Christmas, if you made this at Christmas, you could put, maybe squeeze, yeah, there you go. Now put those around.
Bella, what's your favorite thing to cook?
Cakes.
Cakes, of course. That's the best thing to eat.
She does some things that she's sweet. Well, now we're going to put some of the cranberry sauce in the middle. You don't have to do this, but it looks pretty nice with it.
Now, is this cake served warm, Laura, or room temperature?
Well, that's the problem. I think it's much better warm. So what I did, this one, her brothers will join her over here tomorrow. She's on a Fun Friday sleepover, which we take turns with. But we will have it probably for dinner tomorrow. And then my other 4 grandkids will come on Sunday and we'll have a little on Sunday. What I did when we had it for Thanksgiving, and it was a little bit of trouble, somebody might have a better idea. After we sliced it, I just quickly put each slice in the microwave.
Oh, good idea.
Especially the mashed potatoes at room temperature, you know.
Are the flowers edible, Jennifer wants to know?
No, they're just whatever the grocery store had for Thanksgiving flowers. But that would be a great idea too.
Yeah. Sonia wants to know, do you eat it cold? I mean, you could. There's nothing wrong with eating it cold, but you think it tastes better warmed up.
I do, yeah. I think it's better warmed up.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a question for Bella? Because I think she's going to go with her aunt and play upstairs.
Yeah, one more question, Bella. What's your favorite fruit and what's your favorite vegetable?
My favorite fruit is a strawberry.
Me
Strawberry.
too.
And my favorite vegetable is broccoli.
Oh my God. Did you know that was mine? I mean, how did you answer with my answer?
That's fantastic. She is one of the few people I know who does not like banana.
Mm.
So she doesn't like the banana nice
Ice
cream.
cream. Wow.
She doesn't even like the smoothies. I don't know. And I think a lot of those things, if she didn't already know banana was in there, she might like them, but she doesn't like banana.
Aw.
She's more of a vegetable eater than a fruit eater, I think, aren't you? Okay, well, you can go play and you can watch it later. It's gonna be on TV.
Well, thank you, Bella. Does Bella eat any balsamic vinegar?
Have you, yes,
Well, good.
her
Because,
family does.
well, okay. Well, because, for being on the show the first time, this isn't your first time, so you don't get a gift, but she
No,
gets 2-3 bottles, so she'll get to
come
pick
back and
whatever
say
flavors.
thank you. We've got some balsamic vinegar for you and your family.
Because you know what, Bella? It also comes in strawberry, so maybe you'll pick the strawberry flavor.
You want the strawberry flavor? You want two like that?
Or she could pick strawberry in a different flavor too, if she wanted to try a second one.
You
But
want the same?
thank you for coming
Either.
on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Hello.
Bella. You did a great job. So
Okay.
Laura, how long has it been now that you have kept off 100 pounds? Because you know that most people probably in the world don't keep it off, and you did.
Well, it took about a year and a half to lose it all, which I thought was pretty fast. I did not think that at the beginning when I was losing, but, and so I just turned 76, so I guess 4.5 years. But I'm very confident. My taste has changed so totally now that you could wave anything under my nose or whatever, cookies, cakes, it all makes me feel kind of sick. The only things I would still like would be muffins, crackers, things like that, that aren't, they're processed, they're not always as awful. But when anybody says, poor me, I can't enjoy this holiday meal, or I can't enjoy this vacation, or even this restaurant, my thought is, I'm just lucky that I had that weight to lose, because I would not have ever been like Dr. Lyle or Dr. Goldhammer and just switched to eating that way. I don't even think I would have for animals, because, I'm glad I do now, and I'm definitely vegan, but I thought we needed meat. And I grew up so long ago, I thought we needed a lot of meat and a lot of dairy. My oldest daughter went vegetarian, and I read everything I could about food combining and was worried about her health. And so I am kind of glad the way it all happened to me, because I think I was desperate enough to try to figure out what would work for me. But, and I was going to say, so I think you just want to light up your holidays with a fun cake like this, or there's another recipe Chef AJ has for paella that comes in a great big pan, and that's totally whole food plant-based, and that makes a big splash. And you can even make little turkey platters out of fruit. The kids have done that before. And we used to do this at Thanksgiving. We haven't done it with the little kids, but we may start back at some point. You buy a little Thanksgiving candle, it could be like a turkey or whatever, one of those cheap little candles, and you light it right when dinner is starting, and everybody guesses how many hours it's going to stay lit. And some of the candles are like 1.5 inches tall, but some of them stay lit for hours and hours and hours. And it's a really fun game. And sometimes I think everybody donated $1 to the pot, or mostly, my husband and I put it in. And just, there are a lot of things like, and of course a walk after dinner is fun and healthy for everybody. So but really you don't just want to show up at a holiday and go, oh, poor me. You know, I can't have any of this, and I used to love it, or I still would love it. And then, so that would be what I would call lighting up your holidays or your everyday in your life, not just your holidays. And the other would be lightening up, which doesn't have to mean you have weight to lose. It can just mean you want to simplify your eating, make everything less complicated and easier. You want to maybe clear out the junk in your house as well as the junk in your cupboards. And there are just a lot of ways to, and you want to lighten up in your relationship with people. Don't always be so upset with everybody. Just, you know, get along and have fun and have a good time. And I think all of that is important to remember at holiday time, because people, all kinds of people get very, very stressed during the holidays. And of course, Christmas is a great, Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever you celebrate is a good time to lighten up too.
I love that. Lighten Up with Laura. That should be the name of your show.
Right. Right. But we got a name. We're sticking with that. So the show. Well, and I was going to mention that not only did Chef AJ, I feel, save my life, she and JP. I don't know what kind of shape I would be in at 76 otherwise. And I don't really have any health issues. But I also then decided that I wanted to do some coaching. I took several coaching, several classes, nutrition things and coaching. And then the one part I didn't want to do was have a social media presence or an internet presence. And my clients come exclusively, except a few people referring a friend, from Chef AJ and some from Tammy and Tom Kramer of Nutmeg Dough Book, and they got all their ideas from Chef AJ too. So I have a whole little business going thanks to Chef AJ.
Well, I'm happy because you're helping people. Got some questions for you in the chat. And the first one is from Mary Ann. What do you recommend eating at restaurants?
The safest thing for me is I'll have a big potato or something before I go, and I'll always order a salad and take my own dressing, and then just start stripping away the hundreds of things that they put on the salad. A lot of times they'll put cheese without even mentioning they're going to put cheese, and that's very hard to pick out. So, and then if it happens to be a restaurant that has a baked potato, I'll order that. Or if they have some steamed vegetables, I'll order that. But I don't count on that. And if they happen to have those things, I just go, well, this is just a bonus. I'll just overeat tonight. This is great. And the other thing is, sometimes if you see a bunch of vegetables on a menu, but you're not convinced they're going to have any way to cook it without oil, you can ask for a plate of raw vegetables. And I never thought of that until recently, but I've had great luck with that.
I never would have thought of that.
I thought of it in a hotel that had room service. And I looked at the menu and I thought, I'm never going to get them to, because they're sending it to my room. It's not like I can send it back. And I said, can you take all those vegetables and just give me some raw? And it's easy for them. I mean, they got them right there. And they presented this beautiful array of fresh vegetables. So that's a good idea.
That is a great idea.
And Chef AJ, I wanted to mention one other thing that I got from all the many things I learned from all of your interviews. You interviewed, I know once, I'm not sure if it was twice, Dr. Scott Harrington.
Yep, I have. He's great.
Vegan primary care from Florida. And he's not that far from me. I'm in Savannah, Georgia. He does see patients in an office. I think it's once a week, but he is now my primary care doctor.
That is fantastic.
I've never had a better physical in my life. We were just on Zoom and he reviewed, I think because of my age, we went over every vitamin. He tested my vitamin levels in the blood work, and I stopped taking what I was taking and just substituted maybe 3 things with things that he suggested. And he just has, and then I was going to visit a daughter who had a positive COVID test. This was just a couple of months ago, but no symptoms. And so I thought, well, you know, COVID's not very bad anymore, maybe. And I called him and he just said, well, if you can change the date of your visit, that's what I would do. It's probably wouldn't be, but you just could reach him right away for something like that. Just something kind of minor. So he's fantastic. There are lots of other plant-based doctors that will do Zooms, and I think they're all great. But I really wanted him to be, I really wanted somebody who would be a primary care doctor. He could keep all the records and tell me if I needed any kind of immunization or anything. So, but I wanted to mention that.
Nice. Hey, Gina wants to know what are in the jars behind you?
Oh, garbanzo beans, lentils, split peas, jasmine brown rice, and oat groat. And I have a bunch more in the cabinet.
Cool.
And I've had those for years and years.
Nice.
And I have stuff sort of stored not out here that I could have lived on rice and beans and lentils forever if COVID got too bad to shop or something. Let me tell them to
Yeah, tell them you're on a show, you know?
Right.
No, it's okay. Kids
hey,
are-
Alice and Bella. Alice and Bella. Alice and Bella, close the door and be real quiet.
So Laura, Susanna, who's lost at least 60 pounds now following me, wants to know how different do you feel after the weight loss and how has your life changed for the better?
Well, I thought that one reason I wasn't losing weight or getting serious about it was because I always felt pretty good, real good. But there's a huge difference. I thought I felt really good for 70. Now I think I probably feel really good for 30 or 25 or something. I feel really good. And what was it? There was another part to that.
How do you feel different? How has your life changed for the better?
I think I have a lot more time to put toward just positive energy in everything I do. I started, some of that was COVID driven. I started having a morning routine, and some of these things I heard from people that you interviewed. I write morning pages every day. I meditate every day. I do either Tai Chi or Qigong just a little bit every day. And I walk every day. And I'm back to going to the gym a couple of times a week, working with a trainer. And there is one other holiday idea that I got the first year that I was following your program, Chef AJ, and I'm sure I mentioned it on your Facebook things back then. And I read this somewhere, but I don't know where. So every New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, I write a letter to myself pretending that it's a year from, that it's the next New Year's. So when I was first trying to follow UWL, I wrote a letter at the end of 2016, pretending it was 2017 and saying, well, my weight's coming down nicely. I'm feeling good. I'm exercising more. I'm sticking with my plan and everything. And then when you read the letter, I packed the letter away with holiday decorations. And then you read the letter the next year and see if it's all come true. And then the second year I wrote, I've started going to a gym. I'm going twice a week to have training in the gym. And then I just knew that's what I was going to do with that second year. I hadn't been doing that at all for quite a while. And then the third year, I think I wrote, I'm going to start trying to do some coaching. I had taken the T. Colin Campbell Cornell program, but I decided to go take the Victoria Moran program, and I'm going to start helping other people who are trying to lose weight. And it just goes on year after year, and I keep thinking of things, and sometimes I forget. You know, I'm going to walk in a, I'm going to race walk in a race, and I'll just kind of do these things. And when I pull it out the next year, I'm like, oh, I said I was going to do that. So
that exercise is really good. We use it in some of our courses, and I've done it in other courses. I really recommend it. So Cindy said, were you ever experiencing any health issues that motivated you to lose weight? Do you have any health issues now?
No, the main one that I experienced was terrible arthritis in both knees. And I did have 2 knee replacement surgeries, which I'm not convinced that they both were really necessary. I mean, if I had lost weight a long time ago, maybe. But actually, my mother had 2 knee replacements before they were at all common, and she was never heavy. My grandmother was in a wheelchair because of her knees by about age 60. So I think it was pretty hereditary, and I'm sure I would have had it a little better if I'd been slimmer. But that was the biggest thing. So I got new knees, and actually a year before I started UWL.
Cool. You got new knees. Tony says, do you exercise with those new knees? What do you do?
I do the twice a week at the gym. And then when I couldn't do the gym, I was doing exercise bands with a lot of exercises that I learned from John Pierre. But I was not as consistent doing that on my own, and I didn't have enough, probably variety for how long COVID seemed bad. And then I moved to this neighborhood about a month before COVID started. And every day when I went out walking, I would see this other neighbor who was walking. I knew her name, but I didn't really know her. So I asked her if she would like to walk together, and we walked together almost every day, especially during COVID. We rarely missed. And now if one of us is busy, the other one will walk alone or occasionally take a day off. But we walk, a couple of hours. We walk pretty far. And what I did to stay motivated with walking before that was I would sign up for races that you could run in or walk in, just to be sure I got out there to prepare for the races. So I really love walking. I don't run at all. I never loved running. I mean, I ran a little bit when I was young, but I prefer walking. And I bike ride a lot, and I run around with grandchildren a lot.
That's exercise, running around with your grandchildren. Here's a question I saw. Where did it go? What courses did you do for health coaching, and what courses did you do for nutrition? Sonia wants to know.
The nutrition, the T. Colin Campbell Cornell course covers everything. I don't think it's aimed toward becoming a coach. It's just there's a lot of nutrition information, a lot of information just about healthy eating, and definitely about spreading the word. I remember there was one lecture that we were supposed to get some friends or relatives to listen to with us, and that was really good. It was very long ago that I took that class because I was vegan since '94, so I was vegan a long, and that was my effort at following Dr. McDougall's program, which, as you know, Chef AJ, is the same as yours, the maximum weight loss program. But when I started, I think that was the year he wrote that book. So I didn't have that book. I had other information, but when he would say, which I'm sure is accurate for most people, if you want a little brown sugar in your oatmeal, that's fine. I took that and ran with it. And then because I did that and had a little or a lot of Diet Coke, then by after dinner, I wanted some vegan ice cream, and it just was always downhill. You know, there were so many exceptions, but I do think I got a lot of health benefits from following his program as much as I did. And then the Victoria Moran class is in particular catered toward having a vegan career. You become a certified vegan lifestyle coach and educator. She now does that totally online. And then after I loved her course. And after I did it, she has a mastery level course you can do after you've gotten her regular certification. So I did that. And then she just had a little reunion of graduates on Zoom the other day. And I found out that, well, one thing I found out, Chef AJ, I think you are teaching in one of her classes, or
I just taught the first time I taught in the last one. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and she's so amazing. And then coming up, she's doing another mastery class. And I thought, well, I've done that. I don't know if you can do that again, but she said you can, and it's very inexpensive if you've already gotten that certification or completed it. And she's having Dr. Brooke Goldner, and I really admire and respect what she's doing, and know of a few people with autoimmune diseases and things that I'm hoping will more fully embrace what she's doing. But she's someone that I called and had a couple of consultations with just to learn more about her program for coaching. So she's going to be at Victoria Moran's program. And then they were talking about, Dr. Sabatino, who was at the mastery program the first time I did it, and I had never heard of him. It was before Chef AJ, I knew of him through you. And it was billed as, I don't know, nutrition, the science of something. And it was 2 sessions in a row. And I took a look at it and I thought, oh, I'm just going to sleep through this. I mean, I'm not a very sciencey, someone just tell me what to do and I'll do it. But, you know, all the scientific facts. Well, he was so fascinating, Chef AJ, as you know. First of all, in person, he just dances across the where he's standing. I mean, his whole presentation, and I was just on the edge of my seat, and most of his information I already knew from working with you, but I love that. So he's going to be back in this mastery program. And then they were talking about looking into possibly another well-known nutritionist. So, and that's a shorter program.
Oh,
So I'm going to do that again.
cool. Here's a question from Barbara. Laura, could you please describe what your meal prep method is?
A lot of ideas, some came from Chef AJ, a lot more came from Tammy and Tom, although what Tammy thinks is an easy recipe, I would think would be a company only recipe a lot of times. She's really a chef, I'm really not. but every week I make 7 salads, and they're packed in containers similar to what Tammy uses, and that's all my lunches. And then I'll make 2 or 3, most of my dinners are soups or stews. So I'll make 2 or 3 soups or stews, but sometimes I get such a backup in my freezer that I don't make any if I have a busy week or just don't want to. And so I always have lunch and dinner taken care of. I rarely cook between times. And then my breakfast is often a green smoothie. And that's not recommended in Chef AJ's program during the weight loss time, but I still did those after a while. And for me, it did not slow down the weight loss, and it got in, a lot more vegetables than I would have gotten. That plus the salad is a lot. Then my dinner always has some cooked vegetables with that. But so I eat, I would say the same most days, but there's also a lot of variety. And then I used to have the smoothie before I walked, and then have oats after the walk. And now I'm not as hungry to have both. That's just come through the years of either aging or weighing less. And so now I'll often have the oat groat in a savory way as the starch with my dinner. And I love that. So that's kind of all of my cooking. I do use those containers that Tammy shows on her show where you freeze, super savers, they might be called, something like that. You freeze in portion sizes, and then you pop them out and put them in. I have reusable Ziploc bags that I put them in, so I can just get something out a couple of hours before dinner time.
Nice. So here's a question from, where did it go? Yeah, from Jennifer. How do you fit in all the things you do in a day? Do you give a certain amount of time for each?
Well, it works better in the winter because I have this longer period of time in the morning to do. The things I do in the morning, though, just take not even an hour. I don't even meditate very long, just, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. But in the summer, we have to walk at the minute of first light. We don't have to, but we don't want to die in the heat here in Georgia. So once I do that first and come back, I have a lot harder time fitting in everything else that I plan to do before other things come up. The coaching is just start and stop. Some days I'll have 3 or 4 clients. Some days I'll have 1. I've started trying to not have any on Friday, but I will make an exception. But the coaching, I completely love. I am doing it so much for myself that every few sessions I'll give a complimentary session, because I'm learning as much from everybody as more than they're learning from me. And it's reminding me of how, I hate to say crazy, but how your brain can work when you're looking for an excuse to have something that you shouldn't have. And I'll think, what are they thinking? And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's how I thought for all those years. So, and it is interesting how many people have the same issues. And some of them have been not only very successful, but they're wonderful writers. One client worked in a clothing store, and in the break room, somebody had, I think it was her favorite kind of cake, and she pulled out a scrap of paper that she found in her purse, and madly wrote, what am I, crazy? I'm going to go in the break room and eat that. Then what will I do? Lie to Laura or confess? And then she'll say, oh, that's okay. No, I shouldn't do that. Why am I paying for these sessions? And it went on and on and on. And she wrote it all over. So she sent it to me, but she never said whether she had the cake or not. So I had to text her immediately and say, well, did you have it? And she said, no, I didn't have it.
Great. I love it. Well, I would imagine it just kind of keeps you on track, coaching other people.
It definitely does. And it reminds me that I don't want to ever feel that way again. And I think that's the biggest part of me knowing what to leave permanently alone and what I could have a little bit of or not. But there's not much that I mean, I don't think I can ever have any sugar or artificial sweetener. Most of it I wouldn't want anymore, but I think if somebody force fed it to me, I would still get re-addicted. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. It's a slippery slope. I figure why, don't tempt fate, right?
Well, and don't give your brain. I did work with this coach about compulsive eating or something many years ago, way before I think I was vegan. But I said to her, because she had an issue, but if you could go back to eating all those things, if you suddenly were underweight, wouldn't you want to? And she said, no. And I said, oh, come on, you would. And she said, no, because of the way my brain would feel. But Chef AJ, until I got compliant with you and JP, I thought everybody else's brain was spinning around about food all the time, and they all had excellent willpower. I didn't know there was another way to feel, because I've felt that way since I was 3 years old, and I had no clue what a calm, stable brain meant. Because I thought, I'm plenty calm. I don't know what she's talking about, but I found out.
Randy says, did you do a segment with Nutmeg Notebook on packing a suitcase?
I did. That's the other lightening up that I do.
You took a trip. Did you take a trip on a camel with nothing but a backpack and still manage to?
Well, that whole trip, the trip wasn't on a camel, but I take nothing but a backpack on any trip I've ever gone on for the last, since I was 60. Because I used to work in an orphanage in Tanzania, volunteer 1 month each year. And they liked volunteers to bring duffel bags full of donations, not donations we'd gathered, but people send donations into a center and then they will send them out. And you could bring your suitcase and 1 duffel bag. But I realized if I didn't take a suitcase, I could take 2 duffel bags and check them. This is when you could check 2 things on an international flight. I don't know what it is now. So I went for a whole month with just a few clothes, and you just you have 1 pair of jeans and 1 pair of black pants, and they're lightweight jeans. You can wash them out and let them dry. The 1 pair of pants you can wear till the jeans are dry again, and a few shirts. And then if you need a coat or jacket or anything, you tie it around your waist and you wear your heaviest clothes. And I mean, I don't look like a lot of people look when they travel. I have on the same clothes over and over.
Nice. Tony says, does Laura make healthy snacks?
My favorite is frozen grapes. That is a hand to mouth thing, but I think that's okay. Other than that, another of Chef AJ's idea, the mini bell peppers, the little teeny ones, you just roast those in, I have an air fryer, but before I had the air fryer, you could do it in an oven. That was another thing she told about for holidays. And I thought that, it's going to not sound very smart, for a mini pepper, you still had to somehow get the seeds out, but you don't. You just pop it in your mouth, and all the little kids love those, and I love them. And Another thing I haven't made in ages is Chef AJ's the Brussels sprouts with the mustard and vinegar on there.
Oh, those are so good.
Yeah. So that doesn't have to be a snack, but we would often have that kind of like a snack. But I don't really, I mean, if I do snack now, it would be rare and it would be a piece of fruit.
Well, sounds like you got yourself a rhythm and you're just
Yeah.
still on fire. Randy says, would you come to Ohio to pack for her next week? She's going to Europe. She said you looked great at the NHA conference 2 years ago.
Oh, thank you. I would love to go pack for anybody. Just send the plane ticket. And I better escort her through Europe, don't you think?
I think that's an art form, almost packing.
Well, I just eliminate. So most people, it's not just to pack lightly. It's because most people take all this stuff and they don't wear it or use it. And then they're lugging it around. So
I think Andrew Mellon is really good at packing. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's been on the show.
Found out.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I had already read his book and then saw him on your show. Yeah.
I think it's easier for guys because they don't need all the accoutrements that we need.
Well, except if they're going anywhere in dressy, they have to have coat, tie, folded shirt. Even if I'm going to a wedding, and the rehearsal dinner, I'll have on thin black pants, a fancy top, and another fancy top for the other dressy night. And that's all.
Nice. Did you do any, your birthday was last month, right? October like 10th or 14th or something like that?
October 4th, yeah.
Okay. Did you do anything special for your 86th birthday?
76.
Oh, sorry, I got it, making you 10 years older. I'm so sorry.
That's good. I'd be happy with that too. Let's see. Not particularly, just celebrated with family. But the day I really celebrate is October 17th, because that's the first day when I started counting day 1, day 2, day 3 of compliance. And I can still look up, it was October 17th, 2016, and I can look easily on my phone and tell you how many days that's been now. I didn't look, but you just type in how many days since October 17th, 2016, and Siri or somebody will tell you. But that's a major date because I started attempting, Chef AJ, to follow the program actually even several months before that day. And I would do well, and then fall off, off of the, I don't want to even say the wagon, just go in a rut. And finally, after the 4th came and went, that's when I called JP and said, okay, this is an emergency. I have to have a coach right now. And he was able to have me. And 2 weeks later, I realized I wasn't having any cravings. And I know it takes some people a lot longer, but I was already, eating a lot of the right things and just adding a few wrong things.
Yeah, well, I think you're doing great and you look great and I know you feel great. And I thank you now for helping other people.
I love that. If anybody wants, it's talkingtolaura.com. If anybody wants to get in touch, I can't offer Chef AJ's crew a complimentary session because she has so many viewers. But after somebody sticks with me for like 3 sessions, I do start giving complimentary sessions every now and then.
Well,
and my price goes way down because I think, I know they're committed. It's much easier for me. I'm not, then in the beginning, they'll have questions. They'll want a lot of recipes, a lot of ideas. And later it just becomes chatting with a friend.
Well, it sounds great. Any special plans for the holidays? I know what you're doing Thanksgiving, but Christmas, New Year?
Thanksgiving, I'll go up to Northern Virginia. Christmas will just be here with all the kids and grandkids. And we changed a lot of that during COVID, and we kept some of the changes because it is so many grandkids at once, all the same age. So now my husband and I will usually go to each house Christmas Eve and exchange presents. And then we'll go back Christmas morning and see what Santa left at their house. And but it's always, it's always fun.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks for coming back on.
Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate all that you do, and I can't believe all that you do for so many. I just don't know if you can even fully understand the impact.
Oh, thank you, Laura. That cake is beautiful. I want people to know they can use any recipe, though. It doesn't have to be my cranberry relish or my mashed potatoes. Really, I've done this with lots of different, varieties of cake.
Yeah, but your mashed potatoes, I mean, they need to probably be Instant Pot.
Right, they do need to be soft, and I recommend the Yukon Gold over the russet because I feel like creamier for a frosting.
Those just melt. Yeah, the Yukon Gold and the Instant Pot just melt. Yes.
Yeah, they're the best.
Happy holidays to everybody, whatever you do or don't celebrate. And Chef AJ, keep going. We're all listening to you all the time and getting more and more ideas from you.
Oh, thank you. Well, Susanna says it's been a lovely interview, and Gina says always interesting to have Laura on, always learn new things, and so great. Well, thanks, Laura.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow when my guest is Dr. Akil Tahar, and he is going to be talking about why heart disease in women is not only often missed, but often dismissed too.